Here we go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to a special edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood, here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. You got the old ops guy, you got Mike, and we got the Patch Man with us. Patches, what is up?
Oh, when you're rearranging your old room to move stuff around in your house, it's kind of interesting what goes on
Yeah,
behind
you
you.
look like you look like you're trapped in a closet.
I mean, I might not be like what is it, R. Kelly trapped in the closet or whatever that song
Well,
was back in the day.
or is Tom Cruise hiding in there like in South Park? Dad, Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet.
You know what? At least I'm not Weird Al stuck at the drive-through.
It's true. But being stuck at a drive through sometimes means good things.
Well, that means hopefully the French fries are hot and the McNuggets are fresh as well.
Now, shout out Weird. You know what? We also need Weird Al to play a Super Bowl one of these days. But
Well, that we've all been rooting for that.
we'll digress.
It's either that or Metallica.
I would love Metallica too. All right, we are here to talk baseball. We're talking the winter meetings, which tactically get underway tomorrow. Tonight, really, it's the first night, but as of right now, nothing has gone down yet. So we're here. We're going to talk about Hall of Fame announcement that went down earlier. We'll get into some rumors as signings that have already taken place through this baseball off season. But let's start with the Hall of Fame announcement. This was by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee. And we have one electee for the Hall of Fame out of this. And that is former second baseman Jeff Kent, who received 12 out of 16 votes. Other players in the committee included Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy. Carlos Delgado was on this ballot as well, as was Fernando Valenzuela. So, Mark, I'll start with you. Thoughts on Jeff Kent going to Cooperstown?
I think it was actually a great thing, to be honest. There are a few of those names that were on that list fit the bill, but Jeff Kent set the second base, all-time home run record as a second baseman. He was also prolific as a run producer. Not to mention a fantastic second baseman as well. I mean, he was a great defensive player as well. So I think they got it right here. I know Delgado had finished, I believe it was second or third, and so I'm sure he'll make a appearance again and has a shot.
Patch, any thoughts here?
I mean, you got now, as the WWE Universe would say, the marks, or the pro wrestling world, we have marks everywhere. The marks of baseball are, flag red term bitching and moaning that, how can Kent go in, but Barry Bonds once again snubbed, blah blah blah, Don Mattingly, blah blah blah, all deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, which, the case is there for everybody. But, this is another thing where we're relying on 16 people or 25 people at most, we'll go with hypothetical numbers. I don't know how many people are on this committee.
I believe it was 16 on this committee.
Okay, so you have 16 people on this committee that are deciding who gets to go into the Hall of Fame. Where, to me, it should be, as dumb as it sounds, it should be like all-star voting. Let the fans decide, not, because like we seen it 2 times with unanimous players in Ichiro and Jeter, who are both probably deserving of unanimous decisions to go into the Hall of Fame. But you have 2 people that have, a grudge against Ichiro and Jeter, and then they both get snubbed for being unanimous Hall of Famers. It's like, where does this end where, we stop relying on X amount of people to decide who gets to go into a Hall of Fame? Or it is a Hall of Fame. Like, is he deserving? Yes, he is. But, we're not going to, acknowledge Barry Bonds. granted, the steroid scandal and all that stuff, prevents him from going in. Where if, even if he didn't use them, he would have been in the Hall of Fame anyways.
Well, and I think that's the same argument for Clemens, Bonds and Clemens. If they didn't take them, they were Hall of Famers prior to, but that hurts their candidacy. I was actually a little surprised they were put on the committee or put into this grouping of players just because they were just literally on the ballot.
I think it was their last year of eligibility on the ballot too.
Last year, I think was
right.
And look, I think Jeff Kent is more than deserving. I don't understand why he wasn't voted in by the writers, but again, that's why you have these committees to right those wrongs. You said most home runs for a second baseman. He won an MVP.
Right.
He was a member of the 02 Giants team that won the pennant, lost to the Angels of the World Series. So Jeff Kent was a deserving player to get into the Hall of Fame. And then there's the curious case of someone like Don Mattingly, Mark. And I'm going to go to you on this because we make no bones. You're a little bit older than we are. So you got to watch Mattingly a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
probably won it. Gold Glove first baseman, as many years as I can count. Mattingly could do it with the bat. He could do it with the hair too, and that's just a private joke for Yankee fans, as the hair scandal. But no, I think Mattingly is the one name on this list that needs to get in. I'm not saying Jeff Kent didn't deserve it. Jeff Kent absolutely deserved it. But Mattingly needs to be in, and not just for the fact that he's Donnie baseball and whatnot. He was one of the best defensive first basemen for over a decade. He didn't have to hit 500 home runs. He was a run producer. He could do it all. Well, maybe not steal a base, but he could do it all otherwise. I think it's been missed too long already for him. He should be in.
And then if he gets in, you open up the door for someone else who played first base in New York who should be in, and that would be Keith Hernandez.
Exactly.
But, and the other guy for me that I was a little surprised about, there were a couple actually. Carlos Delgado, who's right on the cusp of 500 homers, but he was a really good run producer, was never accused of taking PEDs. I've always felt Delgado should have been in. And the other guy was Fernando Valenzuela. And I'm going to look up the numbers now because I don't have them right in front of me. But when you go Fernando Mania,
this was a pitcher who was dominant and really was one of the first real Latin dominant pitchers of his time, and had pitches that would disappear at the plate like a bowl of melted ice cream, with the drop out of the sky and then that slider. It's kind of a shame. Venezuela was a good pitcher and is missed on from this Hall of Fame era.
So, Cy Young Award winner, Rookie of the Year, 6-time All-Star, World Series winner, Gold Glover, Silver Slugger, 173 wins, 153 loss, 3.54 ERA, 113 complete games.
You're not going to see a number like that anymore. I mean, obviously, it's Cy Young who owns that record for here until the next millennia. But that's a fact that should stand out alone.
Yeah, the numbers are fine. There's awards that go with it. That's one I'm not going to understand for a while. So, but congratulations to Jeff Kent getting it on via the Eras Committee. The rest of the ballot, I believe, will be dropped at some point in January. And I'm telling you all this now. If Andruw Jones is not a Hall of Famer, there's going to be some fighting words.
And trust me, he argues better than he writes. And that's hard to say.
That's why they call me the arguer. All right, we're moving on. All right, we've already had some signings this Major League Baseball offseason. None bigger than the Toronto Blue Jays. After succeeding in losing to the Dodgers in the World Series, they decided to cease all momentum talking about the World Series champs, and they signed Dylan Cease to a 7-year, $210 million contract. Cease, formerly of both the White Sox and the Padres. So, Mark, your initial thoughts on Dylan Cease going from the Padres to the Blue Jays?
Your top pitcher in the free agent market is now off the list, in my opinion. And I think Toronto overpaid. No offense to Dylan Cease. I think he's an excellent pitcher, and I think he's going to do very well in Toronto. But I think whoever his agent is, I don't know, did a damn good job. I don't think he would have gotten as much from other teams. I think it would have been close, but I think Toronto kind of overpaid. But if he ends up getting a ring with him, then who cares, right? Batchy.
I'm just looking up the agent and seeing if it's no. Cease is represented by Scott Boras.
No, go figure.
Feels like that's everybody in baseball now. Everyone's represented by Scott Boras. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought the 200 was 210 actually a little high. I also thought the term was a little high, 7 years. I didn't think that a team was going to go that deep on Dylan Cease, who's already over 30. But I think this means a couple of things. Dylan Cease is a guy who takes the ball every fifth day. He slots right into the top of that rotation, which I think is going to benefit the Blue Jays for this reason. Now, all of a sudden, Kevin Gausman's going to be probably your number one. Then you go Dylan Cease. And then you could slot Trey Savage into that 3-4 range. And we saw how dominant he could be in the playoffs because he dominated the Yankees in the LDS. He dominated the Dodgers in game 2, I believe. He dominated the Dodgers. So I think this benefits the Blue Jays. And it also makes a guy like Jose Barrios potentially expendable. Not like the movie The Expendable stuff.
Yeah, he ain't that buff.
Now with that attitude, he's not. Pat, you want to add in anything?
I mean, now we're looking at teams that are really going to be in the hunt for a championship, spend money, and as an old saying goes, try to defeat the evil empire. That's not the New York Yankees anymore.
It's not anymore.
It's not the New York Yankees anymore. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles, formerly known as the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers of LA.
But it's another piece added to a team that was probably not to say they were one piece away from winning a championship, but just adds another I would say stone in the infinity gauntlet where maybe you're that now, maybe you do have that final piece to get yourself over that hump. But I still think no one is stopping the LA Dodgers from three-peating.
Yeah, I think right now nobody is on that level. And one of the teams that really we could talk about not being close to that level. Oh, Dan joins us. Hi, Dan.
Wait, sorry I'm late.
No, you're good. Any thoughts on Dylan Cease with Toronto?
Overpaid.
All right. So
I'll say this. The Toronto overpaid. I thought that it don't get me wrong, he's a good pitcher. I'm not denying his talent, The problem is that he's not worth what they gave him. Yes, they're not paying everything right away because of the deferrals, but you know, to me, he's more like a 170, 160 type deal. They gave him $210 million over 7 years. You
A
know,
guy who's already hit 30, so that's 7
yeah,
years.
and not healthy, you know? And then on top of that, when he is actually out there, he is very inconsistent. So, I mean, look, I wish him well. I hope it works out and that they get their guy, but you know, it's a lot of money to commit to someone that pitches on the regular but has off years.
That's correct. This is some news that just dropped from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Kyle Schwarber, the designated hitter from the Philadelphia Phillies, has been made an offer.
By the Japanese what?
They are not Japanese. According to Ken Rosenthal, Kyle Schwarber has been made an offer to become a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Okay.
What? So you're offering chance to get Skeen some backup. Is that what we're saying? Because no offense, any team can be interested in a player, but Pittsburgh coming out with the first offer, kind of surprising here. I just don't see adding Schwarber makes Pittsburgh a playoff team.
I don't think he makes them playoff team. I think they need a couple of bats, particularly one from the right side.
Schwarber's going to be commanding close to. I mean, the number I have is about 35 to 38 a year. There's no way Pittsburgh's shelling that out for a guy who maybe only has about 3 years left, and Pittsburgh's not anywhere closer to being in the playoffs.
But I think that's the plan. When I say that's the plan, this is what I mean. You know, when you have an owner who doesn't want to spend money, we know. We dealt with the
I was about to say, been there.
I think this is the Pirates saying, hey, we made an offer to Kyle Schwarber. The fans will never know what the offer is. It could be a 3-year deal that's $1 a year. But we made the offer. But he chose to go to whatever big market team. And that's where we're going to get this whole conversation about the salary cap and the CBA next year.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what they offered him. Because now the Pirates, they're not necessarily a poor organization or anything.
No, Bob Nutting's a billionaire.
Like, they have the money to shell out quite a bit.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Schwarber would want to go unless he just doesn't care about titles or anything. Because he already has his one.
He's
So
won
with
with
Washington.
the Cubs, but
I mean, sorry, Chicago, not Washington.
Yeah.
It's already out by that. My apologies.
go ahead. I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Oh.
What I was going to say is that he's already got a title. He knows wherever he goes is going to make a team that much closer. I'm not sure if he wants to go somewhere where he's not going to be in the thick of it come October and not playing in those big play games. I give credit to Pittsburgh for getting themselves out there. The only thing I can say is, Mike and Dan make good points. One is that we don't know how much the offer could be. And one thing that would be great because they're not necessarily a poor team, but this could show they're willing to spend money, which might, in fact, not sign Schwarber, but might bring some other names over.
Right. And what that's going to do is that's going to do a couple of things. One, that eliminates them from crying poor all the time. or B, the Pirates finally found their booty treasure.
Mm.
X marks the spot.
What, Scooble?
He ain't going there, but actually,
My
you know,
God, don't could you imagine Scooble Skeens 1-2?
no, I don't think you do that unless Skeens is involved in the trade.
Or Colorado?
I know, but I'm just saying.
Oh my! So that's the first offer. You know what, Patch? If you could play that. Speaking of Scooble, if you want to play that audio clip I sent you.
Oh, do I have the power to do that? I think I do. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hopefully audio plays as well.
I can't hear anything. You have to may have to share the sound and make sure that it's good for YouTube.
Oh. Well,
It's like a optimized type of thing. I forget what the words are.
Okay, so the number came down. This is from the same area where I sent Patch this. The offer is almost certainly for at least 100 million on Schwarber.
Okay, so that puts you at we don't know the amount of years, but let's assume we're thinking 3 years. So let's say 33 million is the offer per year.
Mm-hmm. So while Patchy's getting that ready, so audio on Tarek's a potential Tarek Scooble deal here at the winter meetings. Mark, let's dive back into the signings, and we can go into somebody that actually affected all three of us, and that is Devin Williams going to the New York Mets after a tough beginning in the Bronx.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
I sent it to Dan, or I sent in our group chat that we can play it through there.
Okay.
Hopefully Dan's got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so never mind. We'll go to Williams in a second. Dave, you want to play this?
Yeah, 1 second. Just give me 1 sec.
Take your time.
While Dan's getting that up, so we don't have quietness here. Schwarber, we were talking about Schwarber and the amount of years.
It's got to be four.
It has to be 3-4 years. I don't see him, honestly. He's 32, gonna be 33. As designated hitter goes, it's different. You know, they're not always, up and on their feet the whole time. So it's a different type of metric, especially on age-wise goes as a hitter.
All right, let's try again.
Schwarber's 32, will be 33 in March.
Okay.
What are you hearing on the Tarek Scooble front, if anything?
Person I talked to yesterday said, yeah, I think they are going to trade him. Because when you really get down to brass tacks on it, okay, if you're the Tigers, you're basically, you're weighing the value of trying to compete in 1 year in 2026 with Scooble versus, oh my God, we might get 18 years of team control of prospects that you get. And from what I understand, the asking prices are incredibly high. Name the players who, if they change from one team to the next, would have the greatest impact, okay? Tarek Scooble might be at the top of the list, where if you're a 75-win team, let's say the Orioles go down the same route that they did with Corbin Burns, right? And they acquire a Scott Boras client who's under 1 year of team control. My God, that would, I mean, the Orioles prospects for 26 would change dramatically. And not every team is going to look at it that way and focus on 1 year, but that's what Tarek Scooble's value is. He could completely change the outlook for your team. And if that offer is there in front of the Tigers, do you take it? I just think if your focus is on value and putting your team in the best possible position, not only for 26, but going forward, you trade him now because you don't want to squander that value if he just walks away and all you get is draft pick compensation.
So that was on the Just Baseball podcast. That was Buster Olney talking about Tarek Skubal and a potential trade that could go down at some point, whether it's at the meetings or later this winter. Dan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts there on Skubal?
Scooble could literally be even on one of the worst baseball teams on the planet. He can turn that pitching staff around. Now, it will make a bigger impact for someone that's a contender, obviously. But Tarek Skubal is so good that literally any team can benefit from his presence. And because of his presence, players will want to go there because they know they got a big time ace guy on their roster that's going to be the killer ace for years to come. It's I think obviously it'd be better suited for a contender, you know, or a big time money spender too, because you're gonna have to pay up. It it's the reality is that he's built his value so high that it's almost comical if you give him like on a cheap deal. But the bottom line is, it, yeah, we're right now witnessing generational talent, and for someone like Scuba, you don't really want that go to waste. So, like he's just a tremendous player, and any team would benefit from him. Buster Olney's right. I mean, the reality is you want to get him for a run, and you want to get him for a run quick. You don't want him to waste your time. You don't want to waste his time, excuse me. Um, on a bullshit ass run, excuse my language, that takes a few years. You don't got time for a few years.
Were you surprised he brought up the Orioles?
No, because the Orioles have the money now, one, they can invest. And two, the fact that they do have the young prospects that could grow into this major powerhouse of a team. I'm kind of surprised the O's haven't really built up something with their squad,
Mhm.
especially when they got Corbin Burns
Yeah.
and did nothing with it. So, I'm not shocked that he would bring up the Orioles because of the fact that they do have the assets, and they, look, he could really change that ball club.
Mark?
Obviously, my eyes are wide open, especially when hearing from Buster Only, because there's somebody who knows baseball, it's him. And the reality of the fact with Scooble is whether he's traded or not, and let's go with the fact that he's saying he is. No team is going to want to take him on unless there's some type of extension to him, because there's not going to be a team that's going to go one and done on him and give up the type of prospect deal that can rival what the Padres gave up for Juan Soto. It could be even higher than that. You look at one of the names who's a free agent right now, and that's Michael King. I find it funny if he ends up back with the Yankees after all that. That would be a pure joke. But when it comes to Scooble, I think Dan said it right. It has to be a big market team. It has to be a team that's going to be willing to pay. So you look at the teams that could be able to put a package together. You got the Mets, of course, obviously. You got to look at Boston. I know that would sound funny, but Boston would be a landing destination.
It's not though. That's the thing. That is funny. It's not.
Boston could be an interesting landing place because they have the assets in the minor leagues. I would have to look at a couple more farm clubs to see where else would make sense in trading him, what could be put up as equally. But I would say there would only be about a handful of teams that could put up the type of farm club
You-
and be able to extend him for at least 4 years.
You're looking at it within the division because you got a bunch in there.
I mean, Baltimore also makes sense as they, I
Mm.
mean, look at what they have around them. Could they part with a Gunner or a Jackson or an Adley? You would never want to see one of those go, but if one of them needed to bring in Terry Scooble,
Adley
mean-
would probably be the guy
Yeah,
because they
it'd be
brought
the
up
odd
that
man out. That's the tough part.
Masalo,
yeah,
who was really
right.
good. For
And I mean,
Well,
obvious
that's-
as I said, you'd have to give up one of those three no matter what.
They
And
have the
I-
they have the assets. They have the prospects. They have
Oh, I don't
the
disagree.
talent. You
So
know,
I mean,
and
the AL
Scooble-
East is looking like a very big potential landing spot for him.
and Scooble would fit their timeline because these guys are all in their 20s.
yeah.
Exactly.
You
I
know?
mean, look, I want Scooble as a Met. Trust me. After watching the pitching disaster the Mets had last year, freaking Ronald McDonald could do better. We know Grimace already did.
Grimace.
But no, seriously, Scooble would make the Mets better. Mike and I have discussed, and we had it on last pod. Go listen to that at sportsinsidernetwork.com regarding what the Mets would have to give up for Scooble, and we know it would be a lot. But Baltimore and Boston can put up the same type of package.
The Giants could probably put up something similar too.
Oh, please. The Giants are still getting Aaron Judge.
Dude, Arson Judge is going to hit 340 next year.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of teams who could be out there, but who's going to be willing to dish out those prospects is going to be the big question. And that's why I'm very curious about the Orioles here, because I think the Orioles, to Dan's point, they feel like they were on the cusp of something special, and then they had a really down year last year. And then they trade Grayson Rodriguez to the Angels in a deal that I still really don't understand. I get it from the Angel point of view, but from an Oriole point of view, it's very confusing, as good as Taylor Ward is. The Orioles don't have that guy. Like, starting in May, the Yankees are going to have that guy when Garrett Cole comes back. The Red Sox have that guy with Garrett Crochet. And if somehow the Red Sox pair Crochet with Scooble, that might be a wrap.
Eh,
Because that might be Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling
yeah. I
in
mean,
Arizona.
yeah. I think it's a foot race between at least three different teams going after Scooble when it's all said and done. Like, I don't think it's gonna be one clear-cut favorite because everyone is gonna want him so bad that it's almost like, a big time competition. Think like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Shout out Joey Chestnut.
You know, even though there are sometimes very clear-cut favorites there, but sometimes it might be closing to the finish.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with Scooble. He's not the only guy that could be traded. We'll get on a lot of others. We'll see what happens. But back into the market, Mark, we were about to talk a little bit about Devin Williams, but I want to kind of keep things going with the starting pitchers now that we're there, because there's a number of names still out there. Framber Valdez is out there. Ranger Suarez is out there. There's the Japanese kid Ime who's out there as well. If you're a GM, who you paying?
it's a good question. It depends on certain value. I value Zach Gallen a little higher than some of the names Mike said because Gallen is able to give you 7 innings, something most pitchers aren't able to do these days. And I think with what Ryan Hensley got, is really going to drive up the price. Hence why Cease got as much as he did, I think, because Sports just played his cards right. The next one to fall, I think, will be Valdez. That's my thoughts. Where? There's a number of teams that can use them, and I can't speculate that.
Fair enough. Anybody else got thoughts here on the starting rotation market?
You know, Seattle's probably looking at someone else too. Because once again, Seattle was not steps away. They were, I would say, a key piece, not even a key piece, but they're like one player short somewhere to get themselves to the World Series too for the first time in
I
franchise
still
history.
think it's a bat. They're bringing back Naylor. Cal's not going to have the year he had this year, but Cal's still good. Julio's a stud. I don't know what Seattle does. But it's interesting. All right. Back into where we were, which was Devin Williams, Mark, where we were going to go next.
So this was a sneaky move by the Mets. In going getting Devin Williams. It wasn't even on my radar to think they would even chase him. I mean, you have Edwin Diaz still out there. I think this was more of a double-edged move for the Mets. One, getting that setup man to entice Diaz back. And two, if Diaz goes somewhere else, you fall back on him as your closer.
With Devin Williams, though, like, is that the best you could do, Devin Williams?
Unless they can snag Suarez, but I don't think that'll be the case.
Look, I think this signing is awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's better if he's a setup or like a straight up reliever. Like I feel like he's more comfortable in those roles. Not saying that he can't be a closer, but he had a horrible season with the Yankees last season. Now, does going cross town make things better? I probably not because yes, you're not having the same pressure of being a Yankee, but the pressure of being in New York is just as like massive. And Met fans are very smart, intelligent human beings. I'm not trying to flatter y'all, but
I was about to say thank you.
You were
Yeah.
getting close. Come on.
Like, look, Devin Williams being the setup guy is perfect. Him being the closer, I would be careful with it. He had a great season in Milwaukee until Pete Alonso broke him. And then he came to the Yankees thinking, oh, he's gonna bounce back after that he gave the home run. And he had a horrible season closing. He was great down the stretch as a setup man or seventh inning guy. So you have to sign Edwin Diaz. You have to sign him. That's what will make this signing better, is with Diaz knowing that he's the ninth inning guy, he's the closer, and Devin Williams is the guy that leads to him.
And Devin Williams can be the closer on days Edwin Diaz is down. Look, kind of like he was in Milwaukee when Josh Hader was down. And so I'm with you, Dan. I think the Mets need Edwin Diaz back as well. So wait and see. Dan, the other big Yankee free agent is Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Thoughts there? Do you want him brought back? Are you okay with him leaving? And if he's back, where's he playing? And the third part of this would be the Trent Grisham taking the qualifying offer.
Yeah, I want Bellinger back, but and the Yankee, I don't want to hear this BS. The Yankees can't afford him. Yes, they can. I want him back, but the problem is with Grisham taking the qualifying offer, which look, it's $22 million. Like that's a lot of money for a year. You know, it stinks because now you don't have the same flexibility you once did or you once thought you're gonna get if Grisham had decided to go elsewhere and get more money. You know, and of course you can't necessarily go after different players like a Stephen Kwan. I know he was brought up a while back to take over the left field spot and the leadoff spot. And he's a more of a traditional leadoff hitter than Grisham is. So the Yankees no longer have the flexibility because they have to go after Cody Bellinger. And Bellinger wants to come back to the Yankees. And look, obviously there's what you want, and then there's the reality of the situation. Like they shot themselves in the foot with the Grisham situation. They obviously misread the whole thing. Grisham got what he wanted. He got more money.
Yeah.
A lot more. So it was a dumb move by the Yankees. I get what they were trying to do, but $22 million. Like, come on. Like anyone that was anyone that was in the Grisham situation where you're in the single digits, now you're in 22. Come on now. Yeah. So look out for other teams. Look out for the Dodgers to want to go after him. I know you would love a reunion there. Look out for the Mets. They have the flexibility now in the outfield to get Bellinger and probably find someone else to shore up their infield, shore up their left field, or their center field. Doesn't really matter. Look out for them. To really, really shake things up.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll wrap this up with one final verdict question. If Bellinger were to stay, I'm presuming you would put him in left field.
Yes.
What happens then with both Jones and Dominguez? Do you try to offer them up in a trade for something else where there's another positional need, or do you want them to kind of maintain water a little bit in AAA? Because them sitting on the bench does them no good.
I think because we know who Dominguez is. Can he be developed by the Yankees properly? See, this is where it gets tricky because I wanted to offer up a Jones to Cleveland to try to get Kwan, or Dominguez. It doesn't really matter who, but my preference would have been Jones because he's the better prospect. Let's say they sign Bellinger, do nothing else. That's gonna be a tough one. Like, what would you move those two for? Because you can't have both. You cannot.
That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm confused by what the Yankees want. Maybe they use one of them in a trade. I don't know. I don't know for
Okay.
who.
Okay.
I don't know for who. I still think that we can get Kwan, but again, we don't have the flexibility anymore
Because of the Grisham
Grisham signing.
situation. This dropped from John Morosi on Twitter. Free agent Framber Valdez met with the Giants officials at the GM's meetings last month, in addition to the Mets and Orioles. So Framber Valdez's market looks like it is.
And the Astros ain't going
He
try
didn't-
it. You know?
I don't think the Astros are in. So
Yeah. Can you believe the Astros are gonna fall on some hard times?
no, because I think they got a sneaky move coming.
they got a sinking move coming, but we thought the same thing
Yeah,
last year, and they didn't make the playoffs.
they didn't make the playoffs. You're right. You're
You
right.
know,
Mike, one quick thing on Mr. Dominguez as you were just talking about him.
No, that's
Hey,
fine.
Patch. Hey, Patch. Remember when Dominguez came to HVR? The amount of people that were outside to see him? Do you think the same amount of people would be there now?
Sometimes the hype goes down.
Listen, he's known as the Martian, so maybe people would come.
Oh,
to this.
well, I'm sorry. He was given another name while he was at when he came into HVR. Let's jog the Patch Man's memory. What was that name?
No clue. Don't remember.
The Messiah. And I remember the president of the club, we will not shout out his name for privacy, calls and says it's going to be a long day. Don't plan on going home. You know you were in for a 20-hour day that day.
Mhm.
I had more fun hanging out with Chris Betts.
All right.
Why? No, there's a story behind that.
We'll save the story.
Yes.
All right. We'll end this show with a universal question. I'm going to go around. I'm just talking the winter meetings here. I'm not talking about the general off season. Patch is a Nationals fan. Patch, you would like for the Nats to leave the winter meetings with what?
Signing I wouldn't say veteran player, but a player that's, I would say maybe not. I don't want to use the term popular, but go out and get somebody that, maybe is in their late 20s, if not, I would say at 30, and build around them for a couple seasons, and then turn that person into the veteran player that's a captain that can help lead this team, hopefully, to a playoff appearance. I'm not going to say championship because we're nowhere near ready for a championship, but I at least want to be above 500 and be in a wild card position.
Do you have a specific position you want to upgrade or you want this player at?
If it's pitching, I'm all for it. But if if you can get a veteran, infielder or outfielder to help bring this team together, because it's the dawning of the new era in DC, I'm all for it.
I will say this: Paul Taboni obviously made that move for Ford, with the Mariners yesterday.
Yep, for
So-
Jose Ferrer.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the Mariners get a good reliever, but at the same time, I think right now, obviously, big concentration, Jesus Christ, is on the young players. If the Nats can snag, even if it's just on a minimum deal, a veteran player.
I'd be happy if we, brought Schwarber back for another go around.
Sure, why not? I mean,
we have a great mind in Blake Butera as the new manager, youngest manager right now. Shout out to him.
shout out to all the millennials out there.
Shout out to Mr. Butera
Oh.
from the time of my time working for the Renegades, along with
Yeah.
Mark. It's a dawning of a new era in DC, but let's see what they can do. And you know what? I think Butera's there for the long run. I think it's just not going to be, the Nationals, okay, they won 70 games for 3 years in a row. Time to move on for Butera. I think Butera is going to be there for the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
All right, Mark. You're one thing the Mets can't leave the winter meetings without.
I'd be lying if I don't say Pete Alonso. I'm sorry. But considering that would be the universal answer, I'm going to go with the other answer that I've had. And that's Alex Bregman. I know that a lot of people have been telling me the Mets aren't going to do that. The Mets have had no luck at third base over the last 4 years. And look, I like Brett Beatty. I thought he had a chance to really become something, but he's too slow. Vientos, I'm not willing to trust there. Not for the fact that his defense is just not there for a third baseman. Signing Bregman and then making Beatty and Vientos, and I hate to say it like this, tradable is a move I would do. And that might be able to make your way into Scooble being open to offer two major league players in a trade that doesn't necessarily have to be a ton of rookie package. So yeah, for me, it would be Alex Bregman.
And the one move you would like for the Yankees to make before the winter meetings end.
I think if the Yankees can get Bellinger from the winter meetings, I'll be cool with it. If it's past winter meetings time and still no Cody Bellinger, I think I'd be a little concerned. I don't know where he'll end up. I'd be concerned. They gotta come away with him. Just to shore up for next season. Our lineup and all that. And then they could worry about bullpen. Look, I'm not necessarily worried about the bullpen. I'm not worried about pitching at all because I know the Yankees got quite the rotation now. I'm worried about him, Cody Bellinger. Like, there's a great chance he could dip, like Juan Soto did. Like, there's a chance that he could dip, and the Yankees 2 years in a row cannot miss out on that. Like, it'd be very hard to pivot from that.
And imagine you lose guys back-to-back years to the Mets, and that would be.
I mean, look, well, whatever. Like, if he goes to the Mets, he goes to the Mets. I just don't want him going. I don't care if he goes anywhere. It'd be
No,
bad.
I know what you're saying, but from other Yankee fans' perspective, like, whoa, hey.
Then that the whole no. If you guys want to enjoy that, that's cool. But for me, it doesn't matter where he goes. You know?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
For me and the Mets, I think it's Pete. I think the Mets have to bring back Pete Alonso. And I know this is going to probably take longer than the winter meetings, but I would feel so much better if it didn't. Look, the fans, listen, there is a sentimental value to it, but we just talked about Jeff Kent going to the Hall of Fame. The Mets have not had an all-time great position player in their franchise history. As great as David Wright was, his career ended short because of injuries. Tom Seaver was not even a lifetime Met.
Yeah.
Make Pete a Met for life. That's what you got to do, David Stearns. And then you're back in the good graces of this fan base that still ticked off over the collapse that took place this year, as well as trading Brandon Nimmo, who was a fan favorite. So, David Stearns, you got a lot of work to do, man. So, we'll see what happens. That'll do for this edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Mark, you want to bring up anything with the Dugout?
The Dugout is on vacation for the next 20 days. The Dugout will be discussing taking in a 10,000 card deal appraisal to be done.
Boy. Oh boy.
And when they all get revealed on the 1 of 1.
Oh yeah, all the ones we'll send out for grading. Well, obviously we'll have permission from my customer to do so.
Yeah.
But Charlotte calling out 1,000, 2,000 names. I think she'll love it.
Everyone check out the podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Right here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on the socials, Twitter at Cincinnati Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. And go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. But for the patch, man, for Dan, for Mark, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all again very soon. And thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Batter Up Podcast, Winter Meetings Preview here on the Sports Insanity Network.
I don't have power. Dan has the power. Dan has the power to end this. Good night, folks.
Well, that's all, folks. I can't do it.
Dan doesn't have the power.